Yes, you read that right. I'm currently writing a manga. So without further ado, let me introduce you to my most ambitious creative project to date, Amaranth Angels. Enjoy some of the ship and character concept arts as we go here. Saya Nishizawa was not just a starfighter pilot, she was one of the best, flying alongside her big sister in the celebrated Amaranth Angels Performance Squadron. Things were perfect, until disaster struck. Following a tragic accident, Saya wanted nothing more than to never see a starfighter cockpit ever again. So she left the squadron and switched to a new school, far from Earth and the painful memories, to start fresh. But sometimes the universe forces you back to your calling. When their space station suddenly comes under attack, Saya and her friends, both new and old, find themselves in a fight to survive. Now, stranded far from home and thrust into a conflict beyond anything they could have imagined, Saya and her friends will have to adapt quickly and learn to fight alongside newfound allies if they're to have any hope of seeing home again. Amaranth Angels is a creation forged by combining two of my favorite things, Girls Und Panzer and the starfighter battles in Star Wars, easily the best part of that franchise. So cue anime girls, flying starfighters. However, unlike in Girls Und Panzer, the danger for our characters here is real. The starfighter battles, most of them anyway, are real fights for survival. As much as I love the sports aspect of Girls Und Panzer, that's not something that would have worked as well for this. Plus, I wanted this project to be very much its own, and also writing a sports story would be so far out of my wheelhouse that I wouldn't risk trying it for my first time on such a big project anyway. Work on Amaranth Angels first began about a year ago, and more recently, work started on it in earnest, with the first pages of the prologue, which tells the story of the events leading up to the start of the main story, being completed last week. In fact, let me go and provide you with the first public reveal of the prologue's amazing cover art. It really came out awesome, as are the actual pages of the manga itself, as you've been seeing. My artist is really doing an amazing job, and he's been great to work with. I've actually already been working with him for a while now on my light novel series, and he's been just as great on that project as well. So to talk a little bit more about Amaranth Angels itself, as you can see, there's a pretty large cast of characters already. So the focus is on Saya, as you might have guessed from the little synopsis I gave at the start of the video. You've got cute characters, both human and alien, awesome ships, exciting action, and of course, a great story. And while the danger is real and the stakes high, this is still a cute girls doing military things manga and not a gritty, violent military story. So expect something similar in tone to stuff like Girls Und Panzer, Surprise Surprise, High School Fleet, the Azulane Anime, etc. So action-packed space battles mixed with fun, wholesome characters, and character interactions. I was actually kind of shocked when, upon looking, I couldn't find any manga, let alone anime, that center on anime girls flying starfighters. Something's come close, like the magnificent Kotobuki and the Shirobako OVA Third Girls Aerial Squad, but none of those are in space. I don't think there's anything quite like Amaranth Angels out there. And yes, if it wasn't clear from the previews I showed, we are making it in a traditional manga format, so reading from right to left. Right now, the only place you can see the full completed pages, which includes dialogue and other text, is over on my Patreon. But the entire prologue, about 30 or so pages of story, will be released for free in advance of the Kickstarter campaign I plan to launch within the next couple of months. I'll of course let you know when that happens, but now that things have really gotten moving, I felt like it was a good time to start sharing it with all of you. If you're interested in subscribing over on Patreon, here's how it works in a nutshell, and there's more info over there too. All the patrons at the $5 or higher tiers get to see all the new pages as soon as they're done, and $2 patrons get to see new pages in batches of 5. So, since we have 5 pages completed and shared on Patreon already, if you subscribe today, you'll get to see all 5 of those new pages immediately. And when page 10 is done, you get to see pages 6 through 10 and so on. And extremely generous patrons who subscribe at the $10 tier or higher get to see in-progress pages as well. So if you'd like to support me beyond just watching the videos on the channel, Patreon's a great way to do so. Everything I earn on Patreon currently goes right back into my creative projects. So the bigger things get over there, the closer I'll get to reaching a point where I'll be able to afford to spend more time working on both my creative projects and on content for this channel. I'll probably post another update on Amaranth Angels here once the prologue is completed to share some additional info on the story and the project itself. Of course, if that isn't something you can manage, don't sweat it. Like I said earlier, the entire prologue will be made available for free. I'll figure out where at some point soon, once it's done, and then you'll have the opportunity to get the entire first volume, just about 200 pages worth of story, including the prologue, once the Kickstarter launches. You can also check out my Instagram, where I've shared it and will reshare sometime soon, things like character bios and information on the starfighters. That'll about do it for now. I don't want this video to get too long, and I want to keep the channel itself primarily focused on the videos I create here, as opposed to my projects. But it was something I wanted to share, and I think it's something that you'll enjoy as fans of Girls Und Panzer, and the military moe genre in general. So I hope you'll check it out, and of course, if you have any questions or comments on Amaranth Angels, leave them down below. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you might have. It's going to be a really awesome ride, and I hope you'll join me on it.